After my wife's uncle was released from prison, I let him stay with us out of goodwill. One morning, I caught him at my desk, rifling through my financial paperwork. He looked up and said, "Just checking what you're worth." When I told my wife, she brushed it off and called me paranoid. Hello Reddit I+ here. My name's Caleb Donovan, 38, senior IT consultant, husband of 9 years, and, up until recently, someone who believed trust was the backbone of a marriage. But trust is dangerous when it's one-sided. And sometimes, betrayal doesn't come as a stab in the back. It arrives wearing a smile, asking for a place to sleep. It all started when Emily's uncle, Tobias Quinn, got out of prison. 12 years inside for aggravated assault and burglary. Not just wrong place, wrong time nonsense. Tobias broke into a man's home looking for cash and ended up putting the guy in the ICU with a shattered jaw and 6 broken ribs. That's not a screw-up. That's a violent predator. But Emily, God, she has this bleeding heart. Always trying to fix the broken, especially if they share blood. He has no one else, Caleb, she said, voice trembling just enough to trip my guilt. He's done his time. Everyone deserves a second chance. I hesitated. I had rules. No snooping, no touching our things, and absolutely no entry into my home office. That room had my work files, sensitive contracts, my personal records, everything. Tobias looked me square in the eye and nodded. I just need a couch, man. Somewhere to land, that's all. I gave him the guest room instead, Emily insisted. And that was the first mistake. At first, Tobias kept to himself. He stayed in that room with the door half closed, chain smoking on the back porch, tapping endlessly on his phone. He made offhand comments like, "Nice place, must have cost a fortune," or, "Bet your mortgage is wild, huh?" Creepy, sure, but not criminal. Not yet. Then one morning at 6 a.m., I walked into my office like I always did. Coffee in hand, ready to check emails before my calls. And there he was, sitting in my chair, legs spread like he owned the joint, holding one of my pay stubs, not one on the desk, mind you, from the locked filing cabinet, second drawer down. "Just seeing what you're worth," he said, casual as if he were browsing the damn classifieds. I lost it. Told him to get the hell out of my office. He didn't even flinch, just stood up, smiled, not kindly, but that smug, rotting smile that says, "I know something you don't." Emily came rushing in when she heard me shouting. I told her what happened. She tried to brush it off. "You're overreacting, Caleb. He doesn't understand boundaries yet. Don't be so paranoid." Paranoid. That night, while they slept, I changed every password I had. Banking, email, cloud storage, even my client portals. I opened a secondary account and set up alerts for all financial activity. Something about that moment, him holding my pay stub, that twisted smile, put a chill down my spine I couldn't shake. The next morning, Tobias was gone. Door wide open, bed unmade, window cracked. I thought maybe he'd gone out for a smoke, until I saw my work laptop was missing. The one with client contracts, NDA docs, VPN access. Gone. Then I checked the filing cabinet. My birth certificate? Gone. Just mine. Not Emily's. Not anything else. Just mine. I called Emily into the room, told her exactly what was missing. She still hesitated. "Maybe you misplaced it," she said. "Or maybe he borrowed the laptop to look for jobs." I nearly laughed in disbelief. Then the bank called. A blocked attempt to wire $4,200 around 3 a.m. Same time, Tobias vanished. Then my company emailed me. Someone tried logging into our internal systems from a motel IP address in Idaho, but even that wasn't enough for Emily. "It could have been a coincidence," she said, arms crossed. "Tobias wouldn't do this. He stole my laptop, my documents, tried to drain my bank account." And she was still defending him. That night, I reviewed security footage. At 2:08 a.m., I saw the garage light flicker on. A figure walked out with a backpack. 10 minutes later, he returned for the laptop, looked directly into the camera and smirked, then got into Emily's car. He had her spare key. I didn't say anything at first. I needed more than suspicion. 3 days later, my boss called. He sounded cold. "Caleb, we're getting pressure from compliance. If this isn't resolved soon, we'll have to suspend your access." That night, I confronted Emily. I laid everything out. Security footage, fraud attempts, missing items. She cried. "I didn't know it would get this bad," she said. "I thought he just needed help. I never thought he'd hurt you." I wanted to believe her. But something felt off. Why only my identity? Why not hers? How did Tobias know where my birth certificate was? My laptop? I started digging. I checked the old desktop in the guest room. Nobody used it for months. But Emily had logged in 2 nights before Tobias disappeared. She searched. What if a relative commits identity theft? Is it illegal to help someone open a credit card using another name? I took screenshots. My hands were shaking. Strike one. Strike two came when I found the fireproof safe in our closet had been reset. I hadn't opened it in weeks. Emily had. I confronted her again. She denied everything. I was scared, Caleb. I didn't know who to trust. Then came strike three. I found a crumpled Western Union receipt in her purse. $500. Sent to Darren Quinn, one of Tobias's known aliases from his arrest records. She'd sent it 2 days before he vanished. She didn't help him steal, but she warned him, funded him, enabled him. She chose him. I called in a favor. My college buddy Eric works for a cyber forensics firm. I gave him everything. Within 48 hours, Eric sent me a full dossier. Tobias had opened 4 credit cards using my name, 2 approved and sent to a motel in Twin Falls. But worse? He tried to apply for a business loan. $25,000, with a co-signer, Emily Donovan. That was the final nail. I printed everything, took it to a lawyer, one who doesn't lose. First, I handed everything to my company. They cleared me and issued a formal support letter for my case. Then I froze our joint accounts, moved my income to a private one, shut her out of every dime. Then I filed for divorce. I served her the papers on a Saturday morning. She opened them in her bathrobe, eyes wide, mouth trembling. "You're ending it over this? You ended it when you helped him," she cried. I didn't care. I left the house that afternoon, changed the locks that night. Tobias was caught 3 weeks later at a trailer park outside Reno. He had my laptop, prepaid burner phones, 3 credit cards in my name. He's facing 25 years. Parole violation, identity theft, fraud, and interstate theft. Emily, she avoided jail, barely, took a plea deal, criminal facilitation. She lost her job, her friends, her dignity. The court gave me everything, the house, my car, even the dog. She walked away with a suitcase, a public record, and nothing else. I sold the house 6 months later, moved to a quieter neighborhood in Portland. New locks, new job, new passwords, everything in my name, and only mine. I trust a little less now, love a little harder, but wiser. And I learned something. Betrayal doesn't always show up swinging a hammer. Sometimes it walks through the front door wearing a familiar face, invited in by someone who swore to protect you. So now I keep my doors locked and my eyes open. Always. 6 months turned into a year. The day the divorce finalized, I didn't feel triumphant. No confetti, no deep sigh of relief, just stillness. I stood outside the courthouse, documents in hand, watching couples walk in and out, some fighting, some hand in hand. I wondered how many of them would still be together in 5 years. I wondered how many had secrets like mine did. I wondered if they even knew. That night, I opened a bottle of scotch I'd been saving since my father died. He always told me, "The hard times don't make you bitter. They show you who you are when there's nothing left to hide behind." I toasted to him, and to the man I'd become. Life started again, but differently, quieter. The new house was smaller, 1 story, lots of windows. No basement, no guest room. I liked it that way. No shadows, no visitors, no room for ghosts. I took a new job, same industry, more secure, tighter access control. Funny how I used to love working remote. Now, I like being in the office, face to face, key cards, real doors. I installed my own security system, one that made national news last year, because while some people move on, I build. One evening, maybe 9 months later, I was grocery shopping. Nothing dramatic, just grabbing some coffee and avocados, when I saw her, Emily. She looked thinner, pale, hair tied back loosely, makeup smudged, wearing a uniform shirt from some chain pharmacy. She saw me, stopped in her tracks, and just said, "Caleb." I nodded. She walked up slowly, like approaching a cliff she wasn't sure was solid. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, for everything. I never should have let him in. "No," I said calmly. "You never should have let me go to sleep next to you while you were helping him rob me." She blinked. "I didn't think he'd go that far," she whispered. "Then you're either blind or complicit." Her lip quivered, but no tears came. Maybe she was empty now. She looked down. "I lost everything." I gave a half nod. "I only lost a laptop, a few documents, some money." She looked up, confused. "I got all of it back, Emily. Recovered. Rebuilt. You know what I never got back?" She didn't respond. "My sense of peace, the feeling of being able to trust the person sleeping beside me, that's gone forever." And I walked away. 3 months later, I got a letter from Tobias, prison mail. I stared at it for a full minute before opening it. "You probably hate me. That's fair. Just thought you should know. Emily didn't know I was using her. Not at first. She just wanted to give me a leg up. I took advantage of that. She cried the night she found out what I did with your ID. I watched her, through the crack in the guest room door. Never told her. Just left. That's on me. I'm not asking forgiveness, just telling the truth since I spent so long avoiding it. Signed. TQ. I didn't know how to feel. Maybe he was lying. Maybe he wasn't. It didn't matter. Because even if she didn't know, she still chose him. She still covered for him. She still gave him keys to our world while I slept. And in the end, that's what broke us. 2 years later, I met someone. Her name's Nina. She's smart, funny, private. Doesn't ask questions she wouldn't answer herself. And she never once has asked me for a key to my house. And I love that about her. She knows there are things I've been through, things I may never fully unpack. And she respects that. One night, we sat out on the porch watching a thunderstorm roll in. She asked me, if you could go back to the day before it all happened, would you have kicked Tobias out the second Emily brought it up? I didn't answer right away. Then I said, I'd let him stay. But I'd make sure I was watching, because I don't want to become the kind of man who builds walls so high no one can reach me. I just want to be the man who sees the storm coming and chooses not to ignore the thunder. So here's what I know now. Betrayal doesn't always feel like a knife. Sometimes it feels like silence, like being dismissed, like watching the person you love choose someone else's chaos over your safety. And survival? It isn't about revenge. It's about rebuilding your life so strong, so rooted in self-respect, that nothing like that can ever reach you again. Tobias is in prison. Emily is a footnote. And me? I'm just a man who changed the locks and never ever ignores the sound of a door creaking open again.